Well, I'd like to call the town of Topsail Beach Planning Board meeting for October the 22nd, 2025 to order. First item is Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have any proposed agenda changes? Not moving on. Our minutes from the September 24th meeting. Any comments?
That we approve.
Yeah, I was curious in the discussion of the proposed amendments, the second paragraph near the end, safety concerns have been expressed with properly identifying properties, especially during an emergency event. Should we spell out who expressed the concern? Yeah, because it was EMS.
Right, yeah.
Okay, and I just, it puts in the record that EMS, i.e. emergency response, raised the issue. And other than that, we're good. I make a motion, the minutes will be approved as amended. All in favor? All in favor?
Aye.
Conflict of interest. Does any board member have a conflict of interest concerning any item on this agenda? Please, no. Please respond in the affirmative. Yes.
No.
Okay. Public comments.
Alexander.
Probably at the right time this time.
That's all right, guys.
Alex Arab, 821 North Anderson Boulevard. I wanted to speak about the addressing and had time to think about it since the last meeting you guys had. Plus, for other reasons, I've been out riding my bike around and noticing street numbers, house numbers. And I want to address it in the three types of signage that I see. One is waterside, which would be sound and canal, and then ocean side, and then streets and roads. For the sound side, what I found is that almost all those people either first home or second home, but very few rentals. So I don't think that the rationale that they need numbers so that renters need to know what number they're at to call if there's a problem on the sound side. To me, that doesn't seem like a very big issue. On the ocean side, I can see that because a lot of the ocean side houses are rentals. So some type of number, I don't know that it needs to be translucent or reflective or contrasting is that important, because it's really just for the renter as they go up and down the stairs to the beach. So they see that, and then if they have an emergency, they can say, well, I'm at 821 North Anderson. The third group is the houses, street side. And I think that is worth looking at because there are a number of houses I've noticed that don't have any number. And then sometimes they're fairly well camouflaged, as I would put it. So I think the two things that I would look at would be reflective, because then you're not impacting design and things like that, and where you put it. It'd be hard, I think, with our diversity of houses. And then the second is that the numbers have contrast with the background. To say they have to be green or they have to be black. I mean, we have a lot of very pretty houses. I don't really want to disturb that. But if you can't see the number because you have a tan number on a white house, that doesn't make any sense. It's hard to pick out. But if you did want to do anything, and I don't know what the current ordinance is, but reflective, which I think you can get in most colors these days, I would hope so. And then a contrasting background, whether it be the same as the house or a placard where the numbers are attached to. That's my thoughts on the issue. Thank you.
Number 6, discuss proposed amendments to property addressing and display ordinance. Staff.
Well, I mean, actually, this is, you guys can discuss it, any of the ideas that you guys have come up with. I know we sent out to everyone what Sue and Julie came up with. So if you guys want to discuss that and go over that, and any other suggestions you may have or changes.
Well, I think we're pretty familiar with what this is. I don't know if you've had a time to look over it.
Oh, I've read it.
Yes.
Okay, so basically we took the ordinance that has to do with addressing and display, if that's the right word, and addressed each section. And some of the sections really weren't worthy of a comment. Some we commented on, and some, anyhow, if you looked at it. I don't know, but I don't know how you proceed with this. Questions, comments, right, wrong?
On the ocean, I don't think it would benefit anybody to have the numbers on the house on the ocean side because of so far away. You got, in my house, you've got two sets of dunes and you're, by the time it would be more beneficial to have it on the steps going up. It'd be closer to the beach so people could see it, better, if it was on the steps rather than the house itself, because the house is probably 500 or 600 feet away from the beach itself.
We don't.
So to clarify that part and what we've added in part of the text amendment, it does specify that on the ocean or the sound, that it should be on the structure closest to the ocean or sound. So that's house, porch, deck. I can specify walkway in that. Because if it's at the end of a walkway, it would probably be more visible as well.
Yeah.
So it's just the structure that is closest to the ocean or sound.
When you say walkway, you mean, because a lot of the oceanfront homes, I don't have one, but they seem to have a pathway.
Like a
down.
crossover.
Well, it's just maybe ropes or just the sand is kicked away and that's the extent. So when you're standing at, maybe the allowed walkway crossover, there's no place to put a number. And I'm not against the numbering, but I don't see how you can enforce all of these numbers that have to be in a specified place to be seen when you can't even see the houses sometimes. So I'm missing something here. I mean, if you put the number on the house somewhere, just so that the tenant, renter knows where they are, I certainly, that makes sense. But I don't see how requiring a house to have a number that can be visible from the beach is even possible. I don't know how.
Well, in my situation, it could be on the steps going down, or the top of the steps going down. But if EMS was on the beach itself, looking for a number, you couldn't see it you can't even see the roof of my house from the beach. And so, I think the idea of having a structure, is a good idea, close a structure to the beach, and it may be the house. Or it could be a viewing deck or something like that. But I don't, the situation, I mean, every house is gonna be different, so I just think it'd be, best to do, like you said, have a closest structure to the coast, to the beach.
And then would that have the same size component and the reflective component? Just,
I've got numbers on my house that are 4 inches and they're not reflected, but they're contrasted. So, I mean, I don't know. If that's the town wishes, it doesn't matter. I mean,
When we're looking at this, I mean, the third page, you can see actually Sue did a great job of taking a look at all the beach accesses, and there are some that really don't have anything visible, and that would be a nice start to at least, be able to point someone to house numbers in this direction and house numbers in this direction at the beach accesses, or at least to make sure that they're well marked. Some of the flags aren't readable any longer, and like we said, dune heights and grasses and all kinds of things have changed, but that's one thing that's going to be consistent is what the town does with the
So
access.
we're in the process of moving all those posts, the ones that are closer to the steps on the accesses, to move those out on the other side of the dunes. We just, time hasn't allowed to do all of them yet. We've done a lot on the south end.
Mhm.
but that is in the plans, that get all those posts out there with the access number, make sure the signs are reflective, and then, of course, we're open to suggest, any type of suggestions on what type of signage to have there. If it is, sort of an address directional thing, that's something we can.
That's what
Yeah.
we talked through was if that's the 100 block and that's the 200 block, there could definitely be arrows pointing, I think it would really help people, lost people and anybody else trying to identify.
Yeah, I came up with the same thought.
Yeah.
That if you can at least differentiate the block numbers and the access number itself.
So that's good news that you guys are already doing that. I'm just gonna boil it down for you guys. I mean, we read the whole thing and I think that what we have in place now, if it were enforced, we'd be in pretty good shape. And we just would like to see property owners be notified of what the current requirement is before we go changing things, because it's not happening because it hasn't been enforced. And maybe just notification and then, figuring out what to do with people who are out of compliance after there's been some, I don't know how you guys consistently do it, but I know you send out bills and I know we get newsletters, and I just think some consistent verbiage about the concern. And then I think, I don't have it in my packet, but we also ran across the folks who made the Topsail Beach signage, and they put a proposal together for us if the town were to want to offer an optional addressed situation for people's mailboxes or homes or whatever they need to put it on. This has our same verbiage, and it could be a fundraiser for the town for anybody who needs it. They can do it in the colors that we currently have, or they can do them custom for people, and they're well under $100 a piece, depending on what you choose. They did say that the ones with the printed numbers that are not reflective would be less expensive and more durable. The ones with the reflective numbers are more of a addition to the sign and wouldn't last as long. But anyway, it's in keeping with what we've already got going around here with our flags and our signs and our water tower. If people are interested in that, it would be something the town could offer.
Another thing to consider is that we've got, everybody has mailboxes now.
Yes.
And where in the past, 2 months ago, we didn't. And of course, the addresses are all in the mailboxes too. That's just something to consider. EMS can certainly locate a house number by the mailboxes.
Mm-hmm.
But what about the size? I mean, the proposed amendment would increase the size to 6 inches.
I'm okay with 4 personally.
Well, it's currently 3, I think.
It is 3. I like the idea of 4 because just coming in today, I was just at a drive-by, you can read a 4-inch number a lot easier than a 3-inch number.
So for purpose of discussion, the current signs that have, you go to the ocean, and it has ocean number, blah, blah, blah. Those are 4-inch letters,
Okay.
numbers, rather.
Right.
So just however that works. So going with the 6-inch, you'd have to change every sign, I think, to make the town compliant, all the street lettering and street numbering and such.
If the problem we're trying to solve is the unlabeled houses or the houses with the numbers that blend into the house, I mean, I feel like we need to give it time to let people get that up to speed before we go changing and asking everyone to do something completely different.
Well, that's part of doing this now and making changes, if we want to make changes, is so that we can set a date and say, hey, here's the ordinance. We need you to come into compliance by February 28th of 2026. That's just a roundabout throwing out date. Instead of making them come into the compliance and then change it, and then they have to go buy new numbers again.
Mhm.
So that's why if we make changes, we need to go ahead and make them before we set a date and say, hey, everybody needs to come into compliance by a certain date.
I think certainly all the new constructions need to meet your requirements, and from now on, that could be part of the building
It is though.
It is, and it hasn't been enforced.
It'll have to be enforced.
It seems like much of what was being proposed, if the current code were enforced, would not be a problem, would not require these text amendments. Not all, but many.
I think we need to change the size to 4 inch rather than 6 inch, because 6 inch won't fit on mailbox, a lot of mailbox posts. And you can read 4 inch.
But what happens if the houses don't have mailboxes?
Well, still, I think the 4, I mean, well, this doesn't address the mailboxes, period.
Mhm.
This, you have to put, still have to put them on the house. But I think 4 inches would be something they ought to consider.
Idea 4 inches is the minimum age. It's easier to read.
You want to go through this bit by bit, or do you want to just recommend, what do you want, Mr. Chairman?
Let's go through it one at a time. Now, I was curious when in the write-up, which is a very good write-up, y'all did, by the way.
Yeah.
I was just curious, are there examples of new construction that didn't have numbers and got a CO?
Me. Well, renovation. And
Okay,
I wasn't required to put signage on my dock or on the back of the house.
okay.
I'm happy to do that, but it needs to be owner selected.
Yeah, it's reading the sign when you're on the water. I mean, they're great. I'm in front of 1156. 1156 what?
does the town have, at the sound access points, if I'm in the water, can I see the access from the water? Or if I dock my kayak or dock a boat at a sound? So
There's only front side signage.
wouldn't that be helpful for starters?
There would.
Yes.
Same concept we were talking about on the beach.
Yeah.
Are we trying to solve for a future problem with the sound identification? Because
It's already part of the code. It just, like you said, hasn't been enforced.
so I guess my question is, does someone patrol from the sound side that needs to be aware of where the addresses are? Or are we trying to solve for something we think is going to happen in the future?
I mean, if water rescue does have to go out, then they would need, it would be helpful to them to have some sort of signage.
One thing that one of the board members brought up is that most people have GPSs today. So, I mean, I don't know. For the town to spend a lot of money, or for, homeowners can certainly spend the money to put signs on it, but for the town to spend a lot of money, then we need to consider that. I mean, most folks have GPS, and I would assume that EMS does too.
They still get lost.
Okay.
I mean, just as the example was given when Mayor Blanchard had his emergency, they put it in the GPS and they took him to Queen's Green, I believe. So
Okay. All right. Well, let's go through it. If you're,
Okay, we know that there's not been compliance. In item B, the 90 days written notification, if based on your logic, if we were to make changes and send a new ordinance out, and here it is, give them 90 days, that's what the ordinance says, or could say.
But what if that requires changing of numbers, ordering of numbers? You know how long it takes to get anything done? Order numbers, somebody's got to install them, yada, so it's 90 days enough to come in compliant with whatever changes we make are made.
I think so. 3 months. And if they don't do it, is this gonna be a fine involved, or is that?
There is a fine involved. I think it's $50.
It's $50, I looked it up.
And then it's just left alone, or it keeps, how does that?
$50 a day.
Yeah, $50 a day.
Each day of the violation is a freestanding of another $50. Another $50.
Where's that money go? Out of curiosity, where does the fine, where does fine? Fines.
So Stephanie, goes to Stephanie, she takes.
Travel and entertainment.
That's right. Punishment for having me be in these meetings. Size and color. We'll change that to 4-inch.
Yeah, I'm a proponent of 4 inches, just flat, easier to read than 3 inches. I mean, my house, I got 6-inch numbers. They're jet black on white. You're not gonna miss,
Sure.
but then I was Herman at the time and so do we,
And do you want it on the green aluminum or just want it on?
That was for oceanfront only. So what you're discussing right now is for roadside.
this is a matter of, you know, can we agree on 4 inch?
Moving forward, yes, I don't want to split hairs in this meeting, but I don't know how you're gonna enforce it retroactively.
But if
I'm not.
you're looking at the enforcement right over there.
Huh?
You're looking at the enforcement
Yes.
right over there.
Well, that's, what happened is, I mean, obviously I've been alone pretty much for the last 3 years. We've known it's been a problem. We've talked about it. And then our most recent building inspector that we had, he started to go out and write down numbers that weren't in compliance. We realized very shortly into it that this just needed to be a whole town kind of thing, an announcement, you know, everybody got notice to come into compliance at a certain date, kind of thing, because there were so many. So that's why we decided to go ahead and make changes if we were going to make changes, so that we could go ahead and get everybody into compliance.
But under B, size and color, that's not just ocean, this is just the town.
This is the road, street side. The ocean side is addressed in 289-3.
Right. So back here on 288, A, where we have, I think you have green aluminum. We are or are not going to say that that's,
It's not there.
It's not there. That's under comment. Those are your comments, not, or somebody's comments.
That's under the 289-3 is where we,
I'm with it then.
I think it handles under B. It just says contrasting color scheme. I think that covers it pretty well.
I think so too.
I agree with that. Location of numbers shall be maintained within a 3-foot perimeter of an entrance, whereby they are visible and readable from the road on which it comes.
That is, something that I was looking at because of my neighbor's house right across the street. It doesn't make sense for every house. They have a enclosed screen porch. So the wording needs to say, did we put wording in here?
Yeah, we just said to take
It
out.
should be visible and readable from the road or at the, you had a great word for this.
It's where the road in which it fronts, that was
Yeah.
the, we just recommended taking out the 3-foot perimeter at the entrance.
That makes
It
sense.
just, that makes sense for all houses.
Yeah, that's hearing this major problem. We're
Mhm.
trying to do something for everyone and it just does not
It
apply.
doesn't
to
work.
everyone. I mean, the whole town is, you come into town and there's not really definitions. You cannot logically tell where block numbers change if you come in. You get to Queens Grant, and you have an incredibly long set of numbers, almost a mile, where the block numbers are the same in succession, with some roads that are going down to the sound. But as soon as you get to South Anderson, the whole town's logical. You got cross streets, you got, it's easier to just see and find things, particularly after dark. That's what I'm taking into consideration is after dark. Because in my professional career, we got a lot of calls. I can't find the house. Okay, where are you?
I don't know.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So we have the location of the numbers shall be visible from the road on which it fronts. Numbers shall be located approximately center of the building or the end of the building, so they're clearly visible from the road. Must be posted with a sign number.
Again, one size doesn't fit all. It just needs to be visible from the road based on this,
Right.
be on the band around the deck. It could be wherever is most prominent. I mean, I would hope that most homeowners would want their house to be findable.
Mhm.
And what happens then if if the house is not visible from the road because of some of those wonky shared driveways? So
That's where you're talking about. It doesn't.
Well, typically you're gonna have like, I would just say 504A, so you know that B, C are going to follow it. Just some of them aren't marked. I mean, like the fire chief said last time, they almost busted into the wrong house because they weren't properly marked as A, B, or C, and whoever called in did not give a letter. So they were just kind of searching and guessing which house they were gonna
there
go
should
into.
be a campaign for people to understand where they are. Know their address.
Topsail Realty, we posted it in the house. We stuck it on the telephone. The days before cell phones. On the refrigerator. Everyone looks at the refrigerator. So all of our information was just looked tacky, but it was all stuck on the refrigerator.
So in that statement, by taking out the 3-foot perimeter of the entrance, the location of the number shall be maintained whereby visible from the road. So it doesn't mean it has to be on the house, but there has to be a visible number somewhere. Because if you can't see the house, what good is it? What is building code? They have to be addressed on the house. So
We're gonna require it on the house either way.
I understand that. I understand that. But if you can't see the house, should it be a requirement that somehow I have to know that going down this meandering pathway, there's house number 1, 2, 3. Does that require separate sign? Or
Mailbox,
or something? Well,
You know, like 1111, I believe it's North Anderson. You can see the green placard on the, I guess it's a 4x4, close to the road so that it can be seen. I mean,
It's just a separate little stand, not the mailbox.
just a freestanding post.
And is this 629? Is this designed just for the ocean or the sand, or is this for the?
this encumbers all locations. So, one is on the street side, 2 is commercial structures, 3 is for ocean fronted and sound fronted dwellings.
One is for the street side. You mentioned docks on there. Very end of it.
All it is.
So might want
I mean, we do have some lots where the only thing there is a dock. So that would be the only structure on the lot.
Okay. All right. All right, then with changes, I guess we're talking about location numbers shall be visible and readable from the road, which it fronts, and then the Next sentence, located approximately the center of the building or the end of the building that are clearly visible from the road. Everything else will be okay with that. That's all right, yeah.
What are you, we'll read from the sheets of paper. Say that again.
Location number shall be visible and readable from the road on which it fronts,
Mhm.
and the rest of it,
Is a driveway road. So you get to those long ones with the three houses,
right.
they're facing the drive, the number has to face the driveway to be relevant. So just have driveway.
Road or driveway, which it fronts. Numbers, and then they start out and, and just say numbers shall be, we don't need, I mean, everything's gonna have something, so the numbers shall be located approximately center of the building or the end of the building, so they can be clearly visible for a driveway. So it should be,
So do you make, so Stephanie, do you make like where the structure is located where an assigned number can't be visible? Is that just a case by case thing that you would want to address with a homeowner, or how do you want that handled?
It's a hard read.
I know, but this says, additional posting of numbers should be required at the driveway entrance or access to the structure.
I think that would be on case by case, as long as it can be seen.
I mean, I just go back to, I just feel like people would want to have it once we let everyone know that this is an issue around here. I would think the majority is gonna want to take care of it, but I guess we'll see.
Put the rental companies on notice too.
Well, I think if you have a rental sign on your house, that sign needs a rider with the address on it. I mean, to me, put that on them. There's two on my street, on my walk right now that have, they're unidentifiable and they have big old realty signs on them. So, I mean, you know,
Is that done on purpose? No, I know that sounds stupid.
For 10 years. It becomes a matter of, we would make sure the owner had the house numbers to be in compliance with the existing ordinance. Ergo, we didn't need to put the address on the rental sign because our signs were numerical.
Mhm.
So they're looking for rental 266. Oh, there it is. In many cases, our signs were easier to see than the house numbers, but the house numbers complied. So it's an interesting conundrum.
So is it worth trying to put something in here that addresses responsibility of rental companies?
We also limit the size of the signs that you put on the houses. So if you start reducing the text of the sign, there is the effectiveness of what we would be trying to accomplish by doing that.
I think it'd leave it to the owner to deal with it.
I brought up the rental company simply because they, in order to protect themselves from liability, would make sure the owners complied.
Right.
And that's what we did.
Moving on,
moving on.
number 2 seems to be okay.
Yep.
Number 3. What you have in red is your
Are the changes.
changes.
Mhm.
I would. Closest to the sound. You really want a 18x6 aluminum placard?
No,
I don't
I don't
particularly.
either.
It's just 4-inch numbers placed on contrasting numbers, closest to the sound of the ocean. On a structure closest to that seems like that would cover it. That's all light green.
Thank you.
Well, there are other options. I think that was one of the points that came up. There are other options if having reflective is important. Some of the colors can be almost like the colors of the water tower or something softer, but it's still reflective. It doesn't have to be that harsh green. But
Can't we just have the reflective numbers and not have a placard that says so?
Mhm.
I mean, that just the numbers.
Presumably, yeah.
Yeah. So why don't we eliminate that, the aluminum placards? And we're just making suggestions to the board anyway, so they're gonna do what they're gonna do.
The term is in the process of cleaning out.
I think we're gonna have to strike 5 because we're not suggesting that it's uniform.
Yeah.
which one do you want? Green?
We just put number 5, I guess.
Okay.
Maintenance. seems
Yeah,
like
we're at maintenance now.
I just think the suggestion wherever it needs to go is that we take the next several months to inform about non-compliance and as we're seeing what the board comes back with, but I don't feel like a lot of change needs to happen here. I just feel like it needs to be informed and enforced.
With 3-inch numbers or 4-inch numbers.
I don't have a problem with 3-inch numbers.
Where are you now?
I guess we're just
I was just-
trying to wrap up.
Yeah, I was at the top of the page with the 4 and the 6 and knowing the 3 in my head. Just the size of letters or digits.
Well, and we stipulated 4-inch rather than 6-inch in section 288, so. Currently it's 3. Everybody would have to, many would have to update numbers regardless. So. And I think we've decided that 6-inch is not necessary.
I haven't. I feel that if somebody has a contrasting 3-inch visible address on their house, they should not have to change it.
What about just doing the test? Stand at the road and see if you can see it. If you
Drive
can't
by
see
it and see
I'm
if you
sorry.
can
Yeah.
run by it and see if you can see it. Because that's, the emergency services are gonna be driving by and not staying, like, walking down the road looking for it. So I would suggest.
That's why I
That
was
you
looking
actually
at the
get the
4-inch numbers in Surf City and I could pick up a lot of them coming by based solely on their size.
I think they have a 6-inch, don't they? It's in Surf City.
So
They got their,
There's a 6.
It is 6, sure. They got 4 inch on the ocean from water. There is an argument for enforcing what they got, what we have. Any of the other emergency personnel raised questions? I mean, this was EMS.
Fire department.
Fire department
I
also,
mean, the police officers, you know,
they patrol the
they
town.
control
so
the
they know
town, so they don't,
it's-
you know, but the fire department, EMS.
So it's not, are they,
Well,
per diem folks that come down here that aren't local? Is that why they don't know the streets?
Yeah, a lot of them. I don't know if the firemen actually live here.
I just,
You know, the police officers do either, but like I said, they're riding around all the time. So,
I think I mentioned last time I was doing my survey on my walk, and I think if you've got a clearly marked mailbox and a number on your house, that you should not have to go back and reinvent this wheel, because it's gonna require taking it down, filling in the holes, you know, painting. That's a lot to ask of people, especially those that don't live here full time. If it's clearly marked, that's doesn't fit well.
you'll do, Randy.
Come on, Randy.
Quick kick. Keeping what we've got is the easiest thing to do. But the issue will probably be revisited at some point. Next time something goes wrong and somebody can't find the house for whatever reason.
I'll make a motion that we submit the changes that we're talking about. 4 inch versus 6 inches, and every discussion, you've got an idea what we've talked about. So, we agreed on basically most everything, eliminating the green placard, going from 4 inch to, 6 inch to 4 inch. Putting it on the structure closest to the ocean. I think we ought to just, and then I think we ought to turn it over to the board with those suggestions, and let's see what they have to say.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Me.
Okay.
So
So
I thought I heard you say.
you
aye.
say for those recommendations, just
For
the ones
what
that
we-
you verbalized?
Yes.
What are you thinking?
I'm at crossroads on certain things, everything.
You wanna go point up on
I don't know where I was at.
it?
But if we are deadlocked, 2 apiece.
this actually isn't, you don't have to vote on this. You're just making recommendations.
Okay,
Well, good.
but do we have to agree to make the recommendations?
I mean,
Because
yes.
we're split.
Yeah, we're split.
I would suggest that we table it until our next meeting, when we have a composite of everything we've agreed upon, mutually have agreed upon. Go ahead one more time. That's because we're not,
Read the time.
yeah, we're not in agreement now, even though it doesn't require a motion, we're split 2-2.
Yeah, some of the things that we're talking about, I agree with some things I don't agree with. but,
What don't you agree with?
Um, I don't want to say because I don't want to create any problems.
So it's not gonna be a problem.
It's fine.
I don't, who am I to say that there shouldn't be numbers on every house? I don't think that that's up to me to say, but I don't see how. I can see people complaining that I don't know. And I realize when you need an emergency service and they can't find you.
That no matter what we do, there's gonna be complaints. I'm making that right, Sid?
So, and I'm not 100% on the 4-inch, but at the same point in time, I think new construction going forward, if we're gonna keep everything else in compliance, new houses should maybe have the 4 inches. But to tell people that have these little houses that, and their numbers are, everything lines up and you can see it, even when you're driving by, you can see it, and tell them, oh, now you have to put 4 inches on. I don't know that I feel right about that.
That's where I'm hung up.
So that's what I'm saying is,
So you think they ought to grandfather in the numbers they have?
Correct.
provided they meet,
If they meet.
if they meet
Correct.
Clearly
requirements
visible from the road.
and are in contrast and all the components that, if they are in compliance today, if
I don't know.
that's, I think where my brain is, but
Is that,
Is that the only objection you have? I don't have any complaint, I don't have any problem with that.
I don't
So
either.
we could grandfather in the existing numbers that are clearly visible from the road.
unless Stephanie rides down and says, nah, nah, nah.
Well, so here lies the problem, because we don't have a list of all of them. And to get that list of everybody who's in compliance right now, I don't have a full-time building inspector anymore. We just have a contracted one, so a matter of bringing everybody into compliance is most certainly gonna take more than that 90 days, because it's gonna be getting a list and all of that.
But what would be
together.
the harm in starting to at least advertise this to
In the
everyone?
90 days, if you have
I
a
mean, once we
violation.
make the changes, if we make changes, then it will go out.
Well, how
For
are you gonna
everybody.
enforce that? How are you gonna do that if you don't have the manpower to do it now?
But everybody will have to come into compliance at that point. So it wouldn't be a matter of stopping and writing down every other house or 4 houses in a row or things like that. It would be, you should be able to ride by and there may be a house here or there instead of nearly every house in some spots.
I just don't think it's realistic to expect that would happen and could be enforceable.
Well, it'll be her job to enforce it.
I know that where she's already saying that
They can't do it
they
now.
can't.
What I'm saying is, figuring out who already has it now versus, and then making people that don't have it now have a 4-inch number, but it's an older house. And so it needs to be a uniform size for the number. At least 4 inches. I mean, North Carolina Building Code said it has to be a minimum of 3 inches. We can make our code more restrictive.
But if you can't enforce it, and that seems to be, when you look around, there are a lot of safety issues, and this certainly is a safety issue where there's code and it's not enforced. I'm not questioning that, but just to have one more layer of things that can't reasonably be enforced. But if we do sell the sizzle of, it's important to have your house identifiable so that when you do have an emergency, you can get the help that you need, rather than just starting to say, well, we're gonna start charging you $50 a day if you don't have 4-inch letters, numbers rather.
Our job, I think, is to make recommendations. It's her job to enforce it. So we need to look at what the codes say, and then if we don't have to worry about enforcement. She has to do that. And if it's, and we should make recommendations that are enforceable. But that's her job to enforce it, not us. So, that's my idea anyway.
My recommendation is it stays as is and it is communicated to the homeowners in the town that these are the requirements, and if they're not in.
You want 6-inch letters?
No,
Okay.
no, to leave as written without any amendment. except for where we changed the 3-foot perimeter. Because it's written in a way that houses would be identifiable if they were in compliance.
You want to have grandfathered in if the houses are visible. So they could have 3-inch numbers as long as they're invisible, as long as they're visible.
How do you want to take out the reflective, or do you want to leave that?
I think it's in contrast with the structure that it's not necessary to have reflective numbers.
But we just want to leave it as is.
That's what I would do if I were making a unilateral decision.
What do we need, Stephanie? What do you need?
I mean, if you guys just want to leave it as it is, then I'll take that back to the board, and then your recommendation is to, or your suggestion is to enforce what's in place and not make any changes.
With the exception of
Some of the wording, taking out that area.
we can change the height to 4 inches rather than 6 inches.
That's not what.
Or you leave it as it is, it's 3.
I leave it as it is, okay.
I guess we were reading into it and it seemed like the 3-foot perimeter of an entrance was kind of in contrast to where it was written elsewhere, that it would be on the front of the structure, and we were just calling out that that seemed to be inconsistent. It's not that important. If it's on the front of the structure, you know, facing the road and visible.
And clearly visible.
And clear, it really doesn't matter. We just noticed that it was not in keeping with the rest of the road. Yeah.
We can lose that easily enough.
So what if homeowners are encouraged to consider different types of reflective norms? Not the green, but the examples that you found out. This.
That's up to the town if you guys want to alter
Relate
that.
to.
I mean, you know, we were just literally Googled June's National Safety Month. Is it an opportunity to offer something to people who need it? That would provide some level of consistency with town signage now. So that's up to you guys if you want to consider anything like that, or if the board wants to. We used to love your little sticker re-entry flags that, you know, things like that. People like that stuff, and I'm willing to choose it.
So what we're agreeing to do, and we're uniformly agreeing, is to leave the ordinance as it is with the 3-inch numbers in place. Remove the phrase, which phrase was it? About the 3 foot, within 3 foot proximity of the entrance, where that is created.
Number one.
The last page, I'm looking at. Yeah.
Be maintained whereby, not just that whole line, which are 3 feet of the perimeter of the entrance is gone. The location of the numbers shall be maintained whereby they are visible and readable from the road
Or driveway.
or driveway.
Further down, it says on clearly visible from 5% of the building or candidate building, so that they're clearly visible from the road or driveway again. And look at that paragraph.
This,
I got that site entrance in the second to last sentence.
if it's not visible from the structure.
That already is in play.
But we have something we can all agree on. Okay, that is our recommendation to the board.
Right. Got it? Thank you.
Staff comments? You got it.
Thank you for taking the time to look into this, and make suggestions and talk about it. I really do appreciate that.
Are there any additional board comments?
I understand from the last meeting, Board of Commissioners meeting, I heard that traffic enforcers, travelers is going to be hands down on the planning board. Sure, I heard.
It was briefly mentioned.
Yeah,
I
And there
think
was
that
some
was,
joke about giving it to the.
that was a commissioner giving me a hard time.
Oh.
It was not,
No, that was the inside
that
joke.
was,
Well,
they didn't pass that.
clearly I don't know the humor of everything. I've gone over on that.
Sorry. I moved it for you to be adjourned.
I second that motion. All in favor? Aye.